Welcome back to the Daniel Ricciardo Series Round 7 here in South Wales at the Llandow circuit. We've already had some super racing this morning. We've had a qualifying session for each of our 3 classes. We've had heats, all carrying championship points, and now we'll shortly be getting underway with our Prix Grand Prix. So the first of those will be for our DRS62 drivers, the youngest of our 3 classes. Those drivers are put into 2 groups, A and B. And now they're all fighting for a place in the grand final. So the top number of drivers will get through to that grand final. The remainder will need to go through to the Federation Cup. So for those who are familiar with karting and the formats generally of race meetings, that's what is known sometimes as the B final or the repechage. But the difference is the drivers will be battling for their own individual trophy for that competition and championship points. We're looking now down towards our first Prix Grand Prix for our A group of drivers for the DRS62s. So we're about to get underway then with the DRS62 Prix Grand Prix for Group A. So they're on the grid and ready to go for this, their penultimate race of the day. Remember, they'll all take part in one more race following the Prix Grand Prix, whether it's the Federation Cup or the Grand Final themselves. And we're looking at the kart of Eden Hassan. It's a kart without a driver at the moment, but I can assure you that he will be around somewhere. One of the main challengers for the title, Eden Hassan. Although he's not leading the championship, he's certainly the one with the form and certainly the one looking most ominous, and he's only got some 35 points or so to claw back on the rest of the drivers who are at the top of this championship, including Jamie Gurney on your screen there, 3rd in the championship. So Hassan and Gurney will start on the outside of rows 1 and 2. The inside of row 2 is Archie Heron, who's our championship leader, the number 6. The other driver to watch out who just missed there is Ella Stevens. So pole sitter will be the 87 of Ella Stevens, who did a super job in finding a way past Eden Hassan at the right time. Super racecraft from Ella Stevens. She then had to withhold an attack from Eden Hassan and managed to get a slingshot past him as he ran wide through the final corner here. The Raymond's hairpin. And I would guess that we're going to see some more overtaking in the Raymond's hairpin. Final right-hander that leads you on to start-finish here at Llandow. We're looking down at Thomas Spearing. This race scheduled to start just around about 1:10 so we're back on schedule following a little bit of a delay earlier on. We had an incident, a red flag in the DRS62 heat earlier. But pleased to report that generally everybody is fit and well following that. Remember, you can interact with us today via our live stream on YouTube. You can ask us any questions through the comments section on there or on the Facebook page. So if you log on to Facebook, put Daniel Ricciardo Series into the search box and you will see our live stream on Facebook as well. There's an opportunity for you to comment and ask us any questions or show your support for certain drivers on there. We'll keep tabs on that. We'll monitor it as the afternoon progresses. We're just a couple of moments away now from the first of our pre-Grand Prix. And it's for the DRS62s, our youngest of the 3 racing categories here at the Daniel Ricciardo Series. Just looking at Oscar Cole at the back of this field. One of the rookie drivers, the rookie number plates, the black with the white numbers, says that that's a driver who's new to the series this year. But as we've seen, several of the rookie drivers very well capable of winning races. The more established drivers with the yellow number plates, the black numbers. And they'll all head out of the dummy grid area onto the circuit, as you can see. And these young drivers now preparing themselves both physically and mentally for the 8 minutes plus a lap that they have to navigate around this Llandow circuit. So here is your grid then. Ella Stevens, courtesy of her win in the first heat A for the DRS62. She lands up on pole position alongside Aiden Hassan, Jacob Ashcroft and Jamie Gurney on row 2. Archie Heron and Joshua Turnbull on row 3 with Jasmine Taylor and Thomas Spearing on row 4. Row 5 is Lucius McDermott and Hadley Simpson. Row 6, Adam Bourne and Jamie Warner. And then Oscar Cole and Oliver Gibson will be 13th and 14th on the grid as they complete formation lap 1. They'll come back round, and by the time they get up towards the Del chicane, both Ella Stevens and Aiden Hassan will have the responsibility of slowing the drivers down, getting them into some sort of clear formation at a good pace, and ultimately and hopefully getting us underway with our first pre-Grand Prix of the afternoon. 13:10, the pre-Grand Prix A. Remember, we'll have more DRS62s on circuit next, the pre-Grand Prix B. And in the same format for our junior series, the DRS100s, and then just the one pre-Grand Prix for the DRS125 senior drivers. So, here they come then, through the Del chicane. Back into our view here, we have a super elevated position above the start-finish line. It's Ella Stevens and Aiden Hassan. 87 and 5. Those two will battle it out into that first corner for the first time. In general, the pole sitters have made the better starts today. Can Ella Stevens keep up with form? The light is green, and straight across goes Aiden Hassan, and he has got the drop from the outside of the front row. So Hassan, who went straight across the front of the circuit and just tried to cut the nose of Ella Stevens, and he has successfully found a way through and into the lead of this race. They stream down. He's already got a couple of great corners together, hasn't he? Right out of the blocks, nice and sharp from Aiden Hassan, and he's got himself 3 or 4 kart lengths over Ella Stevens, who I think was probably taken a little bit by surprise at the urgency and the aggressive nature of the move. Nothing wrong with it at all, but he certainly stamped his authority on the start of this race. Jacob Ashcroft now is up into 3rd, but Aiden Hassan it is who leads then, the 12-year-old from Milton Keynes, into the right-hander at Raymond's for the very first time, and they'll cross the line to complete lap 1 here with still 7 minutes to go in this race. Hassan, Stevens, Ashcroft, Gurney, Turnbull and Heron. Archie Heron in 6th place. Behind them is Jasmine Taylor, and then Thomas Spearing is in 8th place. No real changes further down the field. The likes of Jamie Warner, Lucius McDermott is 11th, and Oliver Gibson is 12th, and then Adam Bourne and Oscar Cole are at the back of the field at the moment. Here are the leaders, Hassan and Stevens, 1 and 2. Gap is half a second at the moment. Now this is very similar to what happened in the first race. So in the heat earlier on, Hassan made the best of the starts. Here's a move from 4th place. Jack Gurney down the inside of Jacob Ashcroft. And Jamie Gurney then is up into 3rd. Ashcroft is demoted to 4th. Heron is up at the expense of Turnbull to 5th place. And the gap between Hassan and Stevens is still just around half a second between the two of them. And as we said earlier, this is what happened earlier on in the first race. They tracked each other, worked each other out for 3/4 of the race, and then Stevens started to turn the screw really late on, found a way past, and then they squabbled over the lead in the closing stages. It was Ella Stevens who came out on top, and now she is a little bit closer. And look at the pace of Jamie Gurney as well, because Gurney has just started to ease onto the back of Ella Stevens, and this could very soon become a 3-way battle for the lead here. Gurney 3rd in the championship, wants to try and take points away from the advancing Aidan Hassan, but wants to close in on Finlay Watson and Archie Heron as well. Now bear in mind, Archie Heron is currently in 5th place. He's going to lose championship points to Jamie Gurney, and the more places that Gurney can take in the remainder of this race, the more points that he claws back on championship leader. There is our series leader, Archie Heron. Got Joshua Turnbull tucked in behind him. He's got Jacob Ashcroft in front of him. Here are the leaders then. The gap is visibly less, isn't it? Stevens is starting to come back at Aidan Hassan. So Hassan it is who leads. Stevens is 2nd. The gap is down to 3/10 of a second. So another 2/10 taken out, and this is a carbon copy of what happened earlier on. Can Jamie Gurney keep the pace of these front two as they head through the right-hander? We go through the Lancaster curve, and then they go round Chandler's. This right-hander quite fast, leads them on wide exit, leads them onto a short uphill straight and into the Dell hairpin. Through Dells they come, and then head down probably the longest straight on the circuit, the Hanger straight, and into Raymond's. It's still Aidan Hassan who leads. The gap was 3/10 of a second. 5 is the leader. 87-second gap is down, just a couple of hundreds again this time, but Ella Stevens looks calm and composed, just grabs a little handful of understeer into that second aspect of the hook chicane. We talked about it earlier on where she kept missing the apex, and it was just because she was getting a handful of understeer, just not the car just not turning through the left-hand corner in the way that she'd have liked it to do. And it was evident again just then. Jamie Gurney in 3rd place then, the 11-year-old, just trying to keep on the coattails of this front two. What Gurney will do is he'll be in prime position if these two start to squabble over each other, because overtaking manoeuvres cost time, and they generally mean that you fall back into the clutches of somebody else. The fastest lap of the race so far for Aidan Hassan then, 50.920. He was about half a tenth quicker than Ella Stevens last time round. It's a great response from the number 5 out front, just keeping Stevens at bay in the last lap or two. There's 2.5 minutes to go as we look down at Josh Turnbull, who is right on the back of Archie Heron. Will he have a look at the Chandlers? He's certainly shaped to go down the inside, then thought better of them. Ahead of these two is Jacob Ashcroft, but this is a battle for 5th and 6th, and Heron, certainly at this stage of the championship, round 7, won't want to give any championship points up without a fight, because he is the championship leader. Heron through the right-hander then at Raymond's. Will he have a little look just to check the status of Turnbull? Decides not to on this occasion. No change out front. If anything, Hassan has now found something that he didn't have before, because Hassan has just dropped the toe from Ella Stevens. The gap was up to 7/10 last time round. Just have a look as they come back into our view at the top of the straight here. They are going to come across a back marker shortly as well. Now Stevens has got just around 90 seconds plus a lap, so Stevens going to have to pull something out of the bag here. The back marker may come into play as well. The back marker is Oscar Cole, who the leaders are just about to come on to in the next. Now he doesn't want to hit Oscar Cole inside of the chicane, which just might be where he lands on him. He is going to land him. He goes round the outside and Cole gets out the way and then hampers Stevens significantly. So the back marker allowed for Hassan to go through with the minimum of force, but then took the race in line, and that led to Stevens being hampered. Well, she at least lost 2 or 3 tenths, having to go at the back marker's pace through the hook chicane. That has done Stevens no good. That may well have presented the Prix Grand Prix win right into the lap of Hassan. Let's check on the gap now, where you see them as they come through the chicane and back onto this long straight, and it's quite some distance now between first and second. It was 7 tenths last time round. If anything, the danger for Stevens is that she may drop into the advances of Jamie Gurney. The gap was 7 tenths. How much time? She lost half a second in the incident with the back marker in the hook chicane, and that is her race spent in terms of challenging the leader here in Hassan. So Stevens then, all she has to do now is ensure that she doesn't allow for Jamie Gurney to challenge her in the closing stages. She will know, Ella Stevens will know, that she will have another chance to get after Hassan in the main Grand Prix final this afternoon. She will know that that is an opportunity for her. She may have lost this one, but we have seen the pace from Ella Stevens, but at the moment Hassan has done more than enough here. He's going to come round and see the last lap board over start finish. Here is the battle further back then. Heron and Turnbull still squabbling over 5th and 6th. 84 of Jasmine Taylor doing a good job back in 7th place. 1 million miles from these guys, and has got a big gap between herself and Thomas Spearing in 8th. The top rookie is Jacob Ashcroft, second rookie is Jasmine Taylor. So the rookie drivers certainly showing they can mix it with the more established competitors here. Here is that battle, and isn't Gurney a little bit close? I tell you what, Gurney's within touching distance here of Ella Stevens. I wonder if Gurney will have a look into paddock for the last time. He's close enough if he wants to have a dive down the inside. Is he going to have a look? No, he doesn't. Doesn't manage to go late enough on the brakes, and it will be Hassan and Stevens in second, and Gurney came really strong in the closing stages. Ashcroft a fairly lonely 4th place, and it was Heron who managed to hold on to 5th, but Hassan wins the Prix Grand Prix, or the first Prix Grand Prix for the DRS62s. The second of those 2 Prix Grand Prix races is due on circuit in just a few moments time, as the rest of the field all come through to complete their Prix Grand Prix A. The likes of Adam Bourne in 12th place and Oliver Gibson in 13th. Oscar Cole's race is already finished because he was a lap down, so he would have completed his race when the leaders finished theirs. So all 14 drivers finished the Prix Grand Prix A. Just a moment or two's time, we can turn our attention to our next race on the schedule, the second of the 2 Prix Grand Prix for the DRS62 drivers, which is due in just a few moments' time.